Welcome to Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway, and my co-host is Chelsea Hollander. And today we are continuing our theme of 1997 and continuing our theme of Scream, discussing Scream 2. It's fun and dumb, but so are we. So, Scream 2, we've got some additional characters we need to address. You may recall Cotton Weary from the first one. He's more of a proper character in Scream 2. He is the guy who was in jail in the first movie for the rape and murder of Sydney's mom, Maureen. He is out this time. He is Liev Schreiber.
Schreiber?
Not
Yeah.
Schreiber. Schreiber.
So I was watching this movie, at least the beginning of it, with Ryan, and he paused the movie, and we were watching it on Amazon because we had rented it on Amazon. But we were watching the movie, and we pressed pause, and if you watch anything on Amazon or Amazon Prime, it'll pop up with who's in the scene. And then Ryan goes, "Oh my God, I didn't know Cotton Weary was in this movie." I was like, do you mean Liev Schreiber? But I was like, I guess
do we know him?
What?
I don't know him.
He is the original.
I swear I even looked at his IMDb and was like, I know him from Scream, I guess.
He's in like a ton of stuff. Oh no, I feel bad now. He's in like everything.
In orthogonal spaces. It sounds like you mentioned some superhero stuff. You know I don't do that.
Gambit.
That's not for me.
Let me look at what else he's in. He's in so much, and the fact that I can't recall it.
Nothing that I am interested in.
No, I swear to God he is. I swear he is. I can't spell his name. Did you spell it? I spelled it wrong.
I for sure did not spell it right in our docs. I did it phonetically.
No, you spelled it correctly.
Oh my God, I'm so good at things.
I need to.
Just wait. Later on in my notes, I'm going to mention paper mache, and I for sure did not spell that right.
So he was in Don't Look Up. He was in The French Dispatch. He was in Ray Donovan. He is Ray Donovan. He's in The Simpsons sometimes. He was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is, I don't want you to have to edit that out, but that was so high-pitched that I feel like it's going to be really grating to our listeners' ears.
No, it's going to stay.
He's in a lot of stuff inside the Manson cult, The Lost Tapes. He's the narrator. Do you know him from that?
No, he's the narrator.
He's in The Isle of Dogs. He's in My Little Pony, the movie.
Oh,
he's in
that's
Goon,
it.
The Last of the Enforcers.
I don't know him. I just don't know him.
I'm trying to figure. He's it. Spotlight, Creed. I'm trying to figure. He's in BoJack Horseman. I need to find something specifically. You might know him from something.
I know him from Scream.
Do you know him from Wolverine?
No.
Do you know him from Love in the Time of Cholera?
No.
Do you know him from The 10?
No.
Do you know him from Chicago 10?
No.
Do you know him from Hitler, The Rise of Evil?
No.
I obviously don't, because I don't know anything about Hitler. Do you know him from Caitlin Leopold? Do you know him from Scream 3?
No.
Do you know him from Hamlet with Ethan Hawke?
No. Though that does sound like something I would know him from. I will give you that
I would
one.
have thought you would. That's why I brought that
No,
one
my
up.
Hamlet is Kenneth Branagh or Benny C.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Benny D.C. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, okay. I just knew Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, the Kenneth Branagh is the like platonic ideal of Hamlet, I think.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
But the Benedict Cumberbatch one was really good. Yeah, Liev Schreiber. He's Cotton Weary. He allegedly raped and murdered Sydney's mom in Scream 1. He is free in this one. So he's
because he did not do it because it was obviously Billy and Stu.
Up next is Hallie, played by Elise Neal. Is she somebody? I didn't know her either.
I did not know her, but I am so glad that you put her name because I did not remember her name.
Yes, Hallie. She is Sydney's college BFF. Mm-hmm. She seems like maybe she's her roommate. They're buds. Then we've got Derek, played by Jerry O'Connell, who I also don't know.
Sliders? What? You don't know Jerry O'Connell? Stand By Me?
No.
Oh my God, I'm upset. How do you not know Jerry O'Connell? He's like, I don't know. Should I hate him? Are we supposed to not like him? Can you reject?
I don't like him. I personally don't like him.
Sliders. He's in Sliders.
What Sliders?
It's that show. And I thought I've referenced it here before. Maybe not. Maybe I only reference it when I go to trivia. And I'm like, someday there will be a question about Sliders.
What Sliders?
It's like, it was a sci-fi TV show that was like it went on for like 87 episodes. Fun fact, I am looking it up right now. It's got John Rhys Davies, you know.
Mm-mm.
Gimli from Lord of the Rings. Anyway,
Oh.
but they slide into different timelines. They're sliders. It's like, I did watch it when I was younger. It was on one of those like TV shows or TV channels that was like the Canadian TV channel.
Oh.
You know, you guys always had that extra TV channel. It was like Canadian and you would sometimes watch it. Sliders was on that. And it was sometimes on Sci-Fi, or maybe it was only on the Canadian channel. I'm not really sure. Or the Canadian Sci-Fi channel?
Oh, I don't know.
Write in, guys. If you remember Canadian
Yeah, let us know who this is. But this is Sydney's college boyfriend. And
I know Jerry O'Connell. Love him.
I had never
His
seen
brother
him
was a
before.
bachelor. His not twin brother. Was it his twin brother? One of his brothers was a bachelor in The Bachelor.
I like the idea of just describing everybody's brother as their not twin brother.
He might be his twin brother. That's where
How's your not twin brother Miles doing?
I mean, he's fine. I'm going to see him in a couple days. I'm really excited.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Up next, we've got our final new main character to introduce. It is Mickey, played by Timothy Olyphant.
He's married to Rebecca Romaine, not Stamos, because she's not married to John Stamos.
Okay, good for him.
Did you know? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Timothy Olyphant. What did we say?
Wait, he's married to Rebecca Romaine?
Jerry O'Connell.
No, Jerry O'Connell is married
But
to
Timothy
Rebecca
Olyphant's the best? Is that what we said?
See, that's not what I said. Let me give you a quick
I missed that because I was looking up Jerry O'Connell.
descripto. So Timothy Olyphant plays the character Mickey in this. He's part of the core friend group we're going to follow in college. It's Sydney, Randy, Hallie, Derek, and Mickey. And I know that Timothy Olyphant is a famous person. I also
That's it?
don't know him from anything. I don't know him from anything.
Man, my main thing was Kitchen Release.
Is that about fishing?
It should be, but it's also about Jennifer Garner going through a whole thing where her husband passes away, but she needs to find love. Anyway, it's a nice little, it's not a rom-com, but Kevin Smith is in it. Did he direct it? Did he just star in it? I don't know. Love Kevin Smith. Anyway, Timothy Olyphant is very easy on the eyes.
Oh,
and
yeah, he's cute.
Justified. Yeah. He's in Justified, and he is looking very... He's in a million things looking really...
I know. I pulled up his IMDb and I was like, he's super famous. Clearly, our lives have never crossed before.
Man, there has been a time I have felt the way about him that I felt about Skeet.
Damn.
Yeah.
See, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, is because I remembered you talking about
how much I love
Timothy Olyphant. Is he the only Olyphant, or are there multi-Olyphants?
No, that's the only Olyphant. Oh, so I did go through a phase.
Okay.
Are you talking about me going through a phase? Or when you say that I talked about him before, was it like a time in my life where I talked about him for like 3 months?
Could have been. I don't know.
Yeah, that
I've
checks
known
out.
you for
That
a
checks
lot
out.
of 3-month segments. I don't know.
He's in Santa Clarita Diet.
I saw that. I haven't seen that show, but I did see that he was in it with Drew Barrymore. Oh, we've got a Scream crossover, right? It is Drew Barrymore, right? It is her, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. He's also in a movie called The Crazies, which I watched. I may have watched it for him.
Oh.
He's in The Mandalorian, but that was a moment where I was like, I'm so happy Timothy Olyphant's in this. He was also in The Good Place for a little bit. He was Timothy Olyphant in The Good Place episode.
I think I bailed on The Good Place before.
I know, and we've spoiled it before, and I'm sorry.
Alternately, he showed up in The Good Place, and I just didn't clock him because I didn't know him.
Yeah, Catch and Release was the one that got me. He was in The Girl Next Door. That was probably the first time I had seen him.
Is that the one with the
he's in
gal
Rockstar
from Hocus Pocus? We can't do this. Let's focus up on the movie.
Yeah, we're ruining this. She's not in Hocus Pocus. No.
Okay.
Emil Hirsch, who's in Not Where the Wild Things Are, Into the Wild.
Into the Wild. I know Emil Hirsch.
Back to the movie.
Back to the movie. Okay.
So we're saying we love Jerry O'Connell. Or we like Jerry O'Connell.
You're saying
maybe.
That. I'm not there
we
yet.
love Timothy Olyphant. Okay, I love Timothy Olyphant.
He's a cutie patootie. I'm attracted to him.
And I love Liev Schreiber. So what we're learning is that I have background with each one of these male actors.
So I am also attracted to Liev Schreiber.
Really?
Yeah.
That was unexpected, but kind of not.
Yeah, I mean, reflect on the men I like. Tall, pale, dark hair, Jewish. Like, that totally tracks. That totally tracks for me. Except for he gets a...
I get that, but not in this movie.
No, not in this movie. 0%
Okay,
in this
thank
movie.
God. Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
I thought you were like, I love Liev Schreiber in this movie.
No. I am attracted to Liev Schreiber and for sure not Cotton Weary.
Okay, thank God.
I am attracted to Timothy Oliphant and also a little bit Mickey.
Really? Oh, I mean, I guess at the beginning of the movie, I'm like,
it.
I mean, people who can carry on debates about movies.
So are you into
you? Yeah.
Randy? Oh, thank you.
We're Randy. You and I are Randy.
We're Randy. We're Randy.
No, I'm never going to be into Jamie Kennedy. I'm sorry, Jamie Kennedy. I just identify too much with you to ever be attracted to you.
And also, he annoys me, which is true of myself as well. We're back to that again. Okay. Plot. Okay. This movie opens again with two incredibly famous actors being killed straight away, just like Scream 1. So you'll remember Scream 1 opened, Drew Barrymore murdered immediately. And this one, it's Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett, not Jada Pinkett Smith.
Was she not married at the time?
I didn't think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think you're right.
I thought it was Pre-Smith.
I think it was Pre-Smith.
I don't know, but it's Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett / Smith. And
there is a part at the beginning of this movie where there is somebody who won a MTV "You Can Be in This Movie" thing. Do you remember those like competitions where you could be in a movie, but you're only in the movie for like 2 seconds and you're a super extra?
No.
There was somebody in this movie who hands her a stab mask.
Yeah.
And
she's
she
like
won. She won a
usher.
competition, or she's
an MTV winner.
Yep.
Okay.
And so like she tried really hard to get in that movie for all of half a second.
Good for her.
I'd do it.
Oh,
we'd both do it.
I'd do it. Yeah.
Show
right
up
now.
in a movie.
I'll do it right now. So it's Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett, and they are a couple of college seniors, and they are on a date to see a movie called Stab. And it is a play within a play about the events of the first movie, and it is based on a book written by Gail Weathers, the bitch tabloid journalist from the first one, Courtney Cox. And we get to the theater and half the audience is wearing Ghostface costumes. Like Chelsea just mentioned, there's an usher like handing them out. They're like promotional materials as you enter the theater. And these people are like waving fake knives around. It's opening weekend of Stab, and people are losing their minds. They're screaming and shouting and they're hooting and hollering. And I would simply not do it. I would leave. This is too stressful. Like, it's distasteful.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, it is overwhelming. And if I'm being super honest, it's the overwhelming part that is going to keep me out of that theater, not so much the distasteful part. You see what I'm saying? Like, I accept that it is distasteful and I'm a bad person, but it's the hooting and hollering that's getting me.
We've been to opening premieres before.
I was trying to think of
movies.
The rowdiest one I've been to, and I think it was Hunger Games.
I was trying to think of the Harry Potter ones, and those were still not so bad. Those were
super respectful.
Everyone's respectful. Like, I can't remember one that I've been through that has been not respectful.
I have been to see like Rocky Horror Picture Show where everybody's in costume and we're like throwing the popcorn, and that's like totally different though.
But you've seen the movie, you know what's going on.
Right.
This isn't trying to enjoy it.
You know that it's going to be a crowd who's doing the like audience participation thing. This is like, I'm just going to see a horror movie and people are shouting and wearing costumes and like
fake murdering.
And like costumes are fine. Like, I wore costumes to Harry Potter premieres.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I sat quietly in my seat and ate my popcorn.
Is that so? Is it the audience? Are we saying that people who watch horror movies are more obnoxious?
No, I don't think that I don't accept that as a rule across the board. I think that they just happened to be in this. Like, I think that people in 1996 were just super horny for a bunch of teens being murdered, and
Yeah. And they also haven't experienced what we've experienced, because everything that happens in this movie, at least at this point, we would have not. We would have a different reaction to, which I think we'll talk about at the end of the description of the movie.
Yes, there are.
We'll probably dive pretty deep into that. I have a lot of opinions.
I have a lot of things to say. 1997 was a very different time. Anyway, this is a super crowded theater. Everybody's hooting and hollering. We hate it. Omar Epps gets up to go to the bathroom and gets super murdered in there. And he's murdered by a ghost face. A ghost face murderer who like dons Omar Epps's jacket and then goes to sit next to Jada Pinkett in the theater. And right as Casey in Stab is being murdered, and Casey is being played by Heather Graham. She's in this movie for like 2 seconds. She just plays Casey. She's being super murdered by Ghostface in the movie. Real life Ghostface stabs and kills Jada Pinkett. And she like didn't even want to come to this movie in the first place. She wanted to go see a rom-com with Sandra Bullock and her dimples. And now she's like bleeding to death in front of the movie screen and in front of this crowd of people who won't help her. In fact, they are cheering on the murderer because they think it's a promotional stunt. So, wow, that's a way to start a movie. Like, let's just get into it. And yeah, once again, the news media descends on the school where Omar and Jada are attending. It is called Windsor College. And guess who else goes there? I'll tell you, it's Sydney and Randy. And Randy now has horrible facial hair. It's not quite a goatee. So it's just a chin beard, but it's not a chin strap beard.
It's not good.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And he's still movie obsessed. He's like taking film classes, and he's still pining over Sydney. And Sydney wears a leather jacket now, which is how you know she's tough. She's gotten tough over these last couple years since the events of Scream 1. So I don't know. Sydney and Randy are together finding out the news about Omar and Jada, and Deputy Dewey shows up at the school purely to provide support for Sydney. Like, this is not his jurisdiction.
Because he's the sweetest.
He's so sweet. He's still got his little mustache, which I'm going to stand by. I like it.
I mean, I don't like David Arquette at all, but the mustache makes him approachable.
Oh, I think he's a cutie. Actually, I was wondering, has he been canceled?
Has he? Are you thinking he has because of the mustache?
No, I have no like.
I have not read anything about him being canceled. I did read about him and Courtney Cox's divorce. So whenever they met on Scream, they fell in love. On
Scream?
Yeah, they fell in love. And Scream 2, they hated each other.
But they didn't get over it.
I mean, I know in the plot they hated each other, but I think they actually
in real
went
life,
through.
They hated each other?
And then by Scream 3, they ended up getting married and having children.
Oh my God!
So they were married for like 11 years. And then they ended up getting a divorce, but it sounds like they still have great love for each other.
Okay.
I don't know. It was very like they were just different people.
People just grow apart.
Yeah. And it was like, it seemed, I don't know, it made me so sad. And it was like,
okay.
I don't want to go down this, but like, yeah, Dewey and I don't know if we talked about it earlier that Gale Weathers and Dewey have moments together, and
yeah, he like for sure had a crush on her in Scream 1, and she manipulates that, but I do think that there was like a genuine spark between the characters, and we're going to explore that more in Scream 2. I'm so glad to hear that he hasn't been outright canceled. I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't like remember anything or almost remember anything. I just was taking these notes and was like, I don't want to.
I mean, I always thought he was kind of skeezy, but I can't remember if it was a movie character he played that made me believe that. So I don't want to like.
I see, and I never thought he was skeezy, but I watched way less media than you did when we were kids. So like, I don't know anything about him. I know that I love Deputy Dewey, and I
love
just
Deputy Dewey.
I just had a moment while taking notes on this where I was like, I'm going to go into this recording tomorrow and like love him, and people are going to be like, he raped 15 dead children.
What?
And I'm going to be like,
I will look it up. Well, his sister is one of the most, like, his sister came out really early on as being transgender, which did not happen very often. So I hope that he would be more understanding.
Patricia?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we?
I said that with high pitched because I was like, am I even remembering her name right? Like
there are two. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm Alexis.
Her two sisters. Oh, Alexis.
Yeah, Alexis Arquette, not Patricia. Patricia is the one that is.
Yeah, it's a whole fam of.
No,
actors,
yeah, Patricia
right?
was in Holes, digging up. Oh, yeah, by Louis Citron.
I read the book. I know that young man.
Patricia Arquette was in it. Alexis Arquette is his sister.
Okay.
That was one of the first. She passed away in 2016. I didn't know that.
Oh, fuck. We were just talking about how bad 2016 was.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Okay. All right. No, let's table that. Let's talk about it privately. Let's not record it. David Arquette's whole family is actors. His dad is also an actor. In fact, his dad is in this movie. He is the sheriff.
Dadgum.
Dadgum. Ooh, she's from Arkansas. So yeah, Dewey shows up. He's here to provide support for Sydney, even though it's not his jurisdiction. And he has sort of a limp after the first movie. Like he got stabbed in the back, and he is suffering physical consequences from that. He does warn Sydney that if we really have a copycat on our hands, which is what it looks like, they are probably somebody already in her life, which is a huge bummer of a scene. Like, okay, Dewey, like maybe let's collect more information before we start making me reflect on the relationships I have in my life. But he was right. He was right. Gail also shows up. Surprise, surprise. Like her book on the Woodsboro murders was just made into a huge blockbuster movie. So like she's almost legally obligated to pursue this story. Yeah, Stab, which like even that is funny. Like this movie is called Scream and the parody movie is Stab. Like, great writing, great directing. But yeah, Gail is here and she's even hotter than she was in the first one. She's a smoke show. And she also has like, do you remember those like horrible highlights that people were putting in their hair?
I saw that and I was like, 2000s? Oh my God, everything about this was everything I wanted. Like, I remember wanting beautiful, this. And it's not like how we do now, where the highlights still kind of feel like they're part of the hair. It was like intentionally not part of the hair. No, these are like they could be clip-ins, you know, like so these are so bad. Beautiful. I support her decision, her body, her choice. I would not make this one idea for myself personally. Anyway, she's like a total hotshot. Did I do that in high school? I don't know. Did you? I had my hair so many colors. I remember you dyeing your hair, but I only remember like all over shades. There was a time that I did do a purple under. Like like I did under that back half of my hair purple. Is it embarrassing that I have all purple now? No, your hair is so fucking beautiful. Be honest with me. Am I doing a Gail Weathers right now? Absolutely not. In 10 years, we will be looking back being like, this is a good decision. I don't think Gail Weathers could look at it 2 years after she did it and say, yeah. No. Yeah. This is not a decision. But there are plenty of things that I've watched that I was like, oh, that hair looks. I don't remember. Yeah, I probably had a poster of somebody with that kind of hair on my wall. I'm not gonna lie. I will say her hair is less bad than, say, Justin Timberlake in Sync. I Want You Back. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? At least the red is subtle. I wouldn't go that far, but Soodle. But Dewey makes a lovely Dewey makes a lovely joke about her hair being
I know.
stupid.
He roasts her, but
And I was like,
so...
oh, I feel so great about everything in this moment. This
It's
movie
so
is I know it's a horror movie, but it's also a feel good. I felt good.
I felt good. I felt good. Yeah. Okay. We're approaching that scene. So, yeah, she's got red streaks in her dark hair, and I don't love it. But she is
You don't,
in
but you
Woodsboro. I love her and her personality and her independence and her confidence. You know, yeah. So she's in this town. She's at Windsor College to cover the story. And there are a bunch of local journalists here as well trying to pursue the story. And one of them, Debbie Salt, is particularly obsessed with Gail. And she is like trying to get her opinion and her thoughts on everything at every moment. And it's like to the point that Gail is eventually a huge bitch towards her, which is not surprising for Gail, but she like fully calls her desperate and obvious. And that's sort of a bummer, but also I feel like Gail was like relishing that, being the hotshot journalist in the town. Anyway, she is continuing her legacy of putting herself first, and she approaches Sydney for comment on the recent murders of Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett. Only she has Cotton Weary in tow. She has promised him an interview with Sydney without having confirmed that with Sydney. Cotton was just released from prison and is trying to like parlay his wrongful imprisonment into a sort of fame. But Sydney refuses to do an interview with him. She really hasn't done any interviews this whole time, like between her mom's murder and Billy's murder. Like she's just pretty private, and she just wants to move on. So she's not going to cooperate with this, especially when it's dropped in her lap like this. So Dewey and Gail get into a pretty heated conversation. He pretty clearly had a crush on her in the first movie, and they absolutely had chemistry, but she was not kind to him. In her book, she described him as dopey, which is not wrong. He is pretty
But it
dopey.
is offensive.
It is offensive. And he has a great comeback in this. He stands up for himself, which I was so proud of him for. And he was like, do you ever think that my like dopey, charismatic, childlike personality is to put people off so that I can better infiltrate into situations? And
I was like, damn, boy.
Damn, Dewey. Damn.
That would make sense if you followed through on the other parts of it. But
I was like, you are just pretty dopey, I think. But I
love you. Still love you. You're still my favorite out of all.
Stand up for yourself. We love it. Or are
you? Did you murder someone? I don't know.
We'll find out. We will find out. He and it's in this scene that he calls her cold-hearted and like attention hungry, and he like takes a few steps away, and then he comes back and says like nice streaks and walks away again. Like he makes fun of the red in her hair. Oh, we love it. We love it. This is a great movie. This is a great scene. So while this is happening, we are seeing glimpses of college life for Sydney and Randy. So Sydney's best friend, Hallie, is trying to convince her to pledge to a sorority made up of total plastics, one of whom is Portia de Rossi, and I did not recognize her in the movie. Like, it wasn't until the credits that I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, okay, that was her.
I thought it was weird because we went over I Know What You Did Last Summer, and we talked about Anne Heche for a long time. And Portia de Rossi is Ellen's wife, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about Anne Heche being Ellen's girlfriend. So she was like one of Ellen's main girlfriends for a long time. And I was like, oh, we have so many links between the movies, like same writer, same dater.
Girlfriends.
I don't know. Like, and we have like, there's just a lot of like overlaps between the two movies that I found shocking, because even though they had the same idea, like not idea, but like the same teenagers, something happens. This one, Wes Craven. I'm sorry. I can't keep, it's just so many parallels between the movie that we talked about last week and this movie. It's just like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. We also meet Sydney's boyfriend, Derek. He is in a fraternity, and he looks like his parents were a yacht and one of those white tennis sweaters that the bad guy in John Hughes movies wears around his shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is this? O'Connell?
Yeah, O'Connell. Stand By Me. He was the one who was he was the bigger boy in Stand By Me, and then he got like super hunky when he was later. And okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know him.
I have,
and I also
Sliders.
don't like him.
Sliders. Watch Sliders, and then we'll come back to this.
Okay, so that night, Hallie drags Sydney to a sorority mixer, and it seems like all of the Greek houses are there. Like everybody, all of the fraternities and sororities are attending. And we cut to this gal, Cece, alone at her sorority house. She is the sober sister for the night, standing by to give rides to her drunk sisters. And Cece is Sarah Michelle Gellar. Wait, she's back. She's back. Okay, so Sarah Michelle Gellar, Cece, in this movie, we met her once before. She is in a film class with Randy, and they were in like a heated conversation about the quality of sequels, and she and Randy were sort of on the same page, and I was hoping for like a romance between them. Anyway, yeah, so we are at this, Sydney and her friends are at this sorority party, and we know Cece from an earlier film class conversation. And she is at home at the sorority house waiting for any of her drunk sisters to call who may need a ride. Very responsible. And the phone rings, and it is Ghostface, voice distorted, just like in the first movie. And he is once again asking her what her favorite scary movie is. And he gets into the house and, of course, murders her. So, sorry. Sorry, Cece.
I mean,
that's... we barely knew ye. So the sorority party that Sydney and her friends are at, like, breaks up because the police arrive down the street and they are investigating the crime scene.
Which is very weird. Why does she need to go pick somebody up?
Oh, yeah.
And what vehicle? Does she need to walk with them to make sure they don't stumble? It's a frat party. Is she worried about roofies? What's happening?
Maybe roofies. That's good to be on roofie patrol. I guess maybe there are other parties going on, like in town, that she might have to.
I mean, it sounded like in the movie.
I know it sounded like everybody was going to this one party.
But it could have been more. That's a good point. She is she said, "I'm the sober sister who will pick people up." But I was like, "Do you have a vehicle?"
Yeah, maybe it's not. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's not picking people up with a car, but like just being responsible enough to go like walk somebody the block home and like making sure that they get some water in their bodies. Or if they already have alcohol poisoning, we've got a sober to call 911 or administer Ipecac.
Yeah,
this is smart. Yeah, this is very smart.
I just thought of her like skipping over to the house or galloping. Whenever you were in PE as a child, did they tell you the difference between skipping and galloping?
No, I don't think I've ever like read a definition, but I know what the difference is.
What is the difference?
Skipping is like a frolic, and galloping is like a hard run.
Okay, how I learned it was skipping was doing what you do but reversing your legs, and galloping was not reversing your legs. So you do. Kelly can see me. This is a visual. I'm very sorry, guys.
I should be clear, though. I'm like screwing up my face. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And then galloping is.
Sorry, those look exactly the same to me. What do you do it again?
So you do whoop. And then
she's doing her fingers like walking.
Okay, do I have to do it in person? Oh, okay,
yeah,
I have to see what I see. I have to see.
You for sure have to do
this is going to be bad. We're going to have to redo this on a visual
But skipping is where you like skip stones with your heels.
No. What?
No,
what world
that's
are you
right.
in? Okay, I can't have my headphones in, so I'm hoping this is going to get it visually through.
I can't see your feet.
Okay, I'm gonna have to back up.
Okay.
Skip.
That was not skipping. about Chelsea is that she for sure does not know what skipping is.
I do. There's not enough space to show you.
Calls into question my trust in her ability to define galloping.
Yeah, I'm trying to skip.
I think you were crying.
Her boyfriend just came in thinking that she was crying. She's just laughing.
Okay, you can see my legs here.
Yeah. No, I don't know what you're doing.
This is gallop. Okay.
Okay. We can agree that skipping and galloping are both actions that you can take. And maybe Cece was meant to skip to the sorority party down the road. Okay. So the police arrive to investigate Cece's brutal murder. and the party that Sydney is at up the road breaks up. And so they are leaving. It's just Sydney and her boyfriend are at this point. Derek steps out to like wait for her, but the phone is ringing. And Sydney goes back to answer it. She's a little curious cat. What is it? Like I was trying to do, she's a little curious Catherine.
Cat?
She's a curious Catherine, like Nervous Nelly. You know what I'm trying to do? Anyway,
Curious Casey?
Curious Casey. Curious Casey. She's a little curious Casey. So she goes back, answers the phone. It's Ghostface, and he immediately attacks. Fortunately, Sydney gets away, but Derek meets her in the back of the house, and when he determines she's okay, he runs back into the house after Ghostface, where he gets a pretty superficial defensive wound on the forearm.
Is also very similar to Scream.
It's exactly what happened to Billy after their sexy times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very similar. Which is like sort of what happens next. Like everybody is very suspicious, including me. We're all like, oh, you went back into the house after Sydney already got out? Oh, he didn't kill you? Why didn't he kill you? Oh, you just have this one shallow wound on your arm? What do you mean? So everybody's pretty suspicious, including Sydney. She gets a little doubt in her eyes. But Dewey is especially distrusting here, and I am 100% on his side. As the investigation continues, Gail realizes that the names of the current victims so far match the names of the original victims back in Woodsboro. So Jada Pinkett was named Maureen. That's the name of Sydney's mom. Omar Epps was somebody Stevens, and Steven was the name of Casey's boyfriend. And Cece was short for Casey, which was Drew Barrymore's character in the first one. So now it's clear that we like definitely have a copycat on our hands. And that means that all of the people who were originally attacked in the first one, Gail, Dewey, Randy, and of course, Sydney, are all in danger. And Sydney's like first item on her to-do list is to go talk to her theater professor to try to back out of the play that she's starring in.
So this is also her theater teacher is a famous actor.
Oh, he's a famous-o?
Somewhat. Yeah,
he was
his
great.
name is Gus in the movie. I saw him and I was like, I know this guy. But he was interviewed is not the right word. Auditioned for Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he was like, I love this guy. He's not right for Freddy.
So he like knows Wes Craven. Yeah.
And so Wes was like, we need him in this movie. So he
like
put
10
him
years
as
later, it paid off.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, for a brief moment, I thought he was going to be the bad guy.
That's the best thing about these movies is you don't know who it is.
Oh, I knew Billy.
I knew Billy because I had seen the movie before.
Maybe that's why I knew Billy. But it seems so
I knew
obvious
both of them.
in retrospect.
But I also thought it was Billy Blue, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I was like, maybe I'm wrong on all movies.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the way he acted, I was like, yeah, no, I'm right. This guy is a piece of shit. This is a piece of shit. This is a piece of shit from the beginning, being like, hey, let me get some under the clothes act. Anyway.
Yeah, not the professor. The professor's chill. So she is supposed to be the lead.
Is he though? Because he's trying to get her to.
Yeah, let me explain the scene and then let's talk about his motives. I thought he was chill. So in the scene, Sydney goes to him and she's like, I think that I should back out of the play in light of all of these murders and the attention on me. She is supposed to be lead in a play they are doing. She is playing Cassandra of Greek mythology, who was a prophet who foresees the fall of Troy, but nobody believes her. I don't
How did you know that?
super remember because I took so many Greek mythology classes.
I was like, I had no idea who she was, and I was like, I
really should have Googled this.
Helen,
I really should have fucking Googled this. There's like a real possibility that I'm misrepresenting all of this. But the way I remember it is maybe she was in love with one of the gods. Like, I think that she was like a normal person, and then one of the gods granted her foretelling. But it was like a two-sided coin. Like, she was able to foretell things accurately, but nobody would believe her. Oh boy, no. I really should have looked this up because I wrote all of these notes assuming that like just trusting my memory. Which is why I didn't look it up, is because it fits. So this could be an Attaway special. Maybe this is not Greek mythology. Maybe this is Kelly mythology. So she, Cassandra, in the mythology, as I recall it, like foretells fate and nobody believes her until it is too late. And then there is like backlash against her, like killing the messenger style. And the professor like talks her into staying in the play. And I thought that this was like a really sweet moment. He like convinces her that he's a fighter, and he even like does it with some levity.
That's true. Yeah.
And the joke he makes is like, oh, I'm desperate. We don't have an understudy. But I felt like he was mostly encouraging her. He said that he saw a lot of potential in her acting ability.
I think he does care about her. Okay, so that is one thing. I do think he does care about her. So that's not in question for me. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it was me being like, maybe you shouldn't go, because that was her major. Was her major going to be acting? I guess that was me being like, man, maybe this is not the play for you. And I think you're going to go into why I don't think this is the play for her, or is that the description of what we've done? So in the rehearsal, there's a lot of people in masks. It's just a lot of masks.
Yeah, I am going to bring that back around.
Yeah.
So they go directly into a dress rehearsal after this conversation, and the costumes are very, very elaborate. So this fact I do feel confident in. Greek plays were like chorus focused. Mm-hmm. So you'd have the whole group of the chorus playing essentially the narrator. So they all wear masks and like similar costumes, and they speak their lines in sync, which is what's happening here. So all of the characters or all of the chorus are in these masks, and she is being like tormented by them for foretelling the fall of Troy. And there's a scene where she's like running through the crowd of actors on stage, and she fully has a panic attack because she's looking at these masks, and they have these like wide gaping mouths, just like Ghostface's mask. Mm-hmm. So she has a panic attack and has to like run off stage. And my biggest comment for this scene is, wow, looks like theater departments still had budgets in the 90s. Which we did not have when I was in college in theater in the 2010s.
Man, they had such a huge budget because it goes through later, them going through a bunch of the places. And I was like, holy shit. This is how much soundproofing can be in one room. Anyway,
okay,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
The soundproofing. The theater is where my hat is really hung, but the soundproofing for sure. So, Randy, Dewey, and Gail are sitting outside, like in the quad, discussing the situation when Ghostface calls Gale's cell and reveals that he is watching them in that moment. And so Gale and Dewey take off running, looking for him, stopping anyone they can find outside with a cell phone, while Randy keeps the conversation going. And Randy is like calling the killer a hack and criticizing him for copying Billy, who is nothing but a loser. And by the time Gale and Dewey realize they can't find Randy, he's been brutally murdered. He's been stabbed to death in Gale's cameraman's van.
So Kelly and I are dead.
Oh yeah, we're dead for sure. Yeah,
We're dead.
I mean,
I'm shocked we made it to the sequel.
I drink and do drugs and have sex. So like, I'm not, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Gale and Dewey like realize, oh, the killer has been watching us all this time. But Gale, reporter, her and her cameraman have been taking footage of all of the crime scenes where she's been reporting from. So surely we have captured him on film. So they go hunting for a VCR, which was surprisingly hard to find in 1997. Like, just go to Blockbuster and rent one. But they find one and do a frankly piss poor job of reviewing the evidence. Like any ghost hunter is going to tell you, you've got to keep your eyes glued to the screen. And these two clowns instead end up
having sex,
making out. Yeah.
Oh. They're about to get there. Sorry, I just.
Oh yeah, they're gonna do, like, they want to do it. You know.
Yeah, they're on their way.
They're on their way. But this is like, it starts as a
You're right.
scene.
It is PG, and then it becomes PG-13, but it never gets rated R.
No, yeah.
No,
they like make up for, he was rude to her about her dumb red hair and she was mean to him in her book, and they like make up and then make out, and good for them. Actually, I'm rooting for them.
Mm-hmm.
And Ghostface attacks as they are having a good time. Touching each other's bits. The Ghostface appears and they get separated, and Dewey once again gets hella stabbed in the back, and Gale witnesses it, but she makes it out. And while this is happening, Sydney gets assigned a couple of police officers to escort her as she goes about her day, but they are like super ineffective. So that night they pick up her and Sydney. They pick up Sydney and Hallie to take them to essentially a safe house. But while they are en route, Ghostface attacks, and both of the officers are killed. One of them, like super Final Destination style, like he gets pulled in the face through the windshield. Like it is, it's not good.
There was one of the fun facts of the trivia that I found out was that there was a scene that Kevin Williamson had written that just said that Wes Craven will make this scary. That's all it said. He's like, he'll make it scary. And I was like, I wonder if it was that scene.
Honestly, great.
Oof.
Yeah, this was brutal.
And they also had submitted, like, I think it was like in the double digits of different releases to the MPAA rating board to get it an R rating.
Oh, shit.
So, like, it was probably hella gruesome for like 10 of them, and I think on the 11th is the one that they were like, okay, this is
man
fine.
Give me those
cuts. Right,
I want to see them. So this car accident happens. Like it's a car crash that leads to the pole through the officer's face, and during that crash, Ghostface was driving the car and he gets knocked out. And the following scene is very tense. Like all the doors of the car are jammed, and Sydney and Hallie are trapped in the backseat of the police car. Mm-hmm. And the only reason they can even get out of that is because the pole went all the way through and like broke the grating to the back seat. So they were able to rip that open and get through, but they had to crawl over Ghostface to get through the driver's side window. That's so scary. This was so stressful. This is so stressful. And so they make it out and they are walking away. They're going to go call the police. But at the last second, Sydney decides, no, I need to know who this is. And I was like, yes, I don't know why we didn't pull off his mask.
Yeah, I agree. While you're trying to get out of the, like, if he is not
hidden.
Yeah. If you can walk over him, you can pull off his mask. He's not going to
yank his mask off.
It's not like the soft hair on his face is going to wake him up.
No.
Or her. His or her. Sorry. We're gendering this killer.
It is a boy, though. So So Sydney goes back to she needs to know who it is. She goes back, but he's gone. And now he is behind Hallie and he murders her. So Sydney just witnessed her BFF's brutal death.
murder.
And Sydney immediately goes to the theater.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that happens. It doesn't make sense, but
there's a lot I'm willing to forgive, but this I cannot make sense of. It's fine. She goes to the theater, and she finds Derek, who is tied up against some of the scenery for the Troy play, and Ghostface comes out and he rips off his mask, and it is Mickey, Derek's best friend. And there's a moment where he's like trying to convince Sydney that Derek is actually his partner. It's like Billy Stew style, but that's not the case. He shoots and kills Derek and tells Sydney that his whole plan is to get caught so that he can make a big stink at his trial about how violence in movies made him do it. And who knows how many other people were influenced by that, which is so lame.
Which is so funny. Oh, I'm glad you said
lame.
That. I was like, I thought it was so funny because it was one of the way the movie referenced itself. Like,
yes, it's funny in the context of the movie for sure. Yes.
Yeah, but in real life, like, that's ridiculous, obviously.
Yeah,
but the fact that I just thought it was like, obviously fucking movies don't do this to people. And that was like the joke, in my opinion. But I'm sure that there are some people, I know a couple of people, who would take that very seriously.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll get there. Let's get through the plot and then we can talk about that. So while we are having this like a confrontation scene on the stage, Gail shows up. And so does Debbie Salt, that needy journalist from the beginning of the movie. Only Sydney recognizes Debbie Salt. She is Mrs. Loomis, Billy's mother. Billy from Scream 1, the murderer. Sydney's high school boyfriend. And she has been Mickey's partner this whole time. She's been like bankrolling his tuition, which I don't know, how many murders would you commit for free tuition? That's another question. That's another podcast. But Mrs. Loomis is here and she's blaming Sydney for the death of her precious son, even though she like abandoned him. Yeah, like, why are you so bent out of shape about this?
Someone
left him.
Pay attention to.
And she straight up kills Mickey, even though she was just using him. And her plan is to make it look like Sydney and like Mickey killed each other. Oh, totally like mother like son. Like this is like genetic psychopathy, you know?
Perfect.
She also shoots Gail, who takes it in the ribs and gets knocked into the orchestra pit of the stage. And that made me laugh pretty hard. And then Cotton fucking Weary shows up and he pulls a gun on Mrs. Loomis and Sydney because Mrs. Loomis like grabs Sydney and holds her like a body shield. Yeah. And Cotton like fully blackmails Sydney. He's like, I will help you so long as you agree to do that interview with me and Diane Sawyer, which I have been wanting to get to like make myself famous. And this is super gross. That's so gross. Disgusting. Cotton Weary sucks. But he is true to his word. She agrees and he shoots Mrs. Loomis, freeing Sydney. And I do just want to call out, like, this is what they were doing with the play. Like, this all happens in the theater in and amongst the set for the play about Cassandra and Troy. And in the plot of the play, after Cassandra foretells the fall of Troy, the like scenery crumbles around them. And that is like what happens in this scene. Like throughout this, Sydney has been foretelling the fact that Ghostface is back and is going to wreak havoc. And during the confrontation, the scenery of Troy falls around them. So like, that's cute. Scream 2 tried to do a literary thing. That's sweet. I like that.
Yeah.
But turns out Gail is okay. So we've defeated Mrs. Loomis and they pull Gail up back onto the stage. And right as that happens, Mickey pops up, classic bad guy, tries to attack again, but Gail and Sydney in tandem shoot the shit out of him without hesitation. And just for good measure, Sydney shoots Mrs. Loomis right in the head, just like she did Billy in the first one. And she just very nonchalantly says, like, just in case. Very casual ending to the movie. They do step outside, and there are once again reporters, and Sydney encourages them to pursue interviews with Cotton Weary, deflecting any interest that they might have in her and giving him the like fame that he has wanted, or at least his 15 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Great movie.
So I really love the first one. And
Yes.
So much so that I watched it twice in the last week. And I feel like the second didn't disappoint. Like, I am so excited to watch Scream 3 and Scream 4.
Yes, same.
5
absolutely.
and 6. Like, I can't.
All of them.
It's so good. It is so good.
I genuinely don't think that I have seen either of these movies since before Y2K, you know? Like, I was a child the last time I watched these movies, and they were a fucking delight.
It's so
Such
good.
a treat. Such a treat.
And I know that we try to like view the movies right now through the lens of now. And I think that Kelly did a great job of live tweeting on our No Show Monster Twitter about Scream 1. But like the fact that you can have people run through the school in costumes and you can have all this stuff happen is just, like that part just completely floored me that was okay back then, and that
these movies
didn't
are
faze anyone.
Pre-Columbine. Like there's a part in Scream 1, I think, where Sydney is like nervous to leave the house, and Dewey reassures her. He's like, "You're going to school. It's safe." And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, school is not safe anymore. This is a crazy thing to like reassure somebody. But that's how I remember school.
Well, even the second part, like if the other main scene, beginning scene, is at a movie theater,
right?
And violence happening at a movie theater, and I was like, "Are you?"
Yeah, like shitty? Aurora, Batman,
exactly.
You know?
And
like,
that's what I thought, because like even when we were talking about premieres that we went to, like I went to the Dark Knight premiere.
Shit, dude.
Like I went to a lot of those. I worked at the movie theater. No, I probably worked in. I probably watched it with my theater comrades. But like there were so many things that are just like none of these would fly today. None of these would be okay. And I like these movies are just like a testament of their time. Like it's like being able to go through security pre 9/11. Like that's what this entire movie felt like, is like pre 9/11 airport security. Like everything, it's
at
so
least we're pre 9/11.
It's just like so much of a change between then and now. But like even then, it's like still a fucking good movie.
It's a great movie, and like those are just sort of setting, you know, like when it comes down to character and their experiences and their struggles, I think that this is still very real, you know.
100%.
Like oh, you know what did stick out to me is in the first one when Sydney is alone in her house and Ghostface first tries to get in. She like texts the police.
911. That is not something that is a thing.
No, it is some places.
It is some places, but they have to like it. Whenever I left being a 911 dispatcher, that was just recently being implemented.
Oh,
you can't text 911 that often. Like we didn't have a text to 911 line. We had a TTY line. Is that whenever
mean?
Someone's hard of hearing, or in case, or like you have like a intermediary where someone will speak for the person.
I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so we have TTY lines, but we didn't necessarily have like a text to, and that was something that we were looking at taking on whenever I left. Was doing text to 911. And once again, being a 911 dispatcher was the bomb, and I loved it, and I loved everyone I helped, and I loved all the people I spoke to on the phone. It's the other side of it that got complicated. So just want to continue to reiterate that whenever we talk about movies that have 911 in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the thing. Like, text to 911 isn't always something that is something like, if I were to text 911 from my phone here, I would assume that they would have a connection because it's a major city. But obviously, if I did it when I was in the town I lived in before, I do not think it would have been a capability.
I feel like this is something we should all look up. Like, PSA, do a little research.
Adam Brody's in like Scream 4.
I'm so excited. I love Adam
I know.
Brody.
I love Adam Brody too.
Cancel the podcast. Let's just do Scream.
We might. Honestly, like, I am so excited to watch the rest of the movies. Like, I've never looked
too.
forward to movies more than I have after this one.
Like, if we wrap up soon, I'm watching 3 tonight. You know?
But each of them just has like, I don't like, do you ever get giddy when you just see the people that you love younger and you're like, oh my God, what are they doing? I love them so much. These movies are that. Even in, what is it, Scream, one of the most recent Screams, Scream 4 maybe, that has Hayden Panettiere. It also had Kristen, who's the most
Chenoweth.
lovable Kristen? No,
Oh.
Bell. Kristen Bell.
Oh, she's in a Scream?
Yeah, she's in the beginning part with Anna Paquin.
Pulse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's her and Anna Paquin sitting on a couch talking about getting
And
murdered.
Anna Paquin is Romeo plus Juliet?
No, you're thinking of Claire Danes.
I am.
She's
You're right.
so beautiful.
Who's Anna Paquin?
Blood.
Vampires?
Yeah, what's that one that was by the woman who's Southern?
She plays Suki.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the show?
Vampire Diaries?
That's definitely not it.
Oh.
Blood?
Are you sure?
No, I'm 100%
True
sure.
Blood.
True Blood. I just keep saying blood. Bloody blood, blood, blood.
I
True
didn't
Blood.
watch
It's True
these.
Blood.
I don't know how. I know that from podcasts. Like, I cannot even conjure up her face, but I know that it's
She's in many things.
because
Prior to
Suki.
that?
Wait, do I have it
Oh,
backwards?
Suki is from. Are you talking about Gilmore Girls, or is that where you're confused?
That's where I'm getting. Like Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls is either Suki or Suki. Gilmore Girls is Suki.
Suki. Yeah, Suki.
And then, so True Blood is Suki.
Suki. But that's because that's how. What's his name? Bill?
Louisiana. Skarsgård? It's Skarsgård, right?
No, not Skarsgård. The other one.
Damn it.
The other guy that she was in love with would be like, Suki.
I don't know. I don't know. I just know the Suki.
I feel like I'm being terribly offensive. So I'm going to stop trying to pronounce her name. But yeah, you're right. Suki. Suki.
Yeah, let's get back to the movie.
I loved the movie. We're going to watch the other 3, 4.
However many. I don't even know at this point. I'm going to watch them.
I'm going to watch the TV show. Like, it's so fucking good. You guys, you probably already saw Scream and you're probably already ahead of us.
Yeah, I feel like we're late.
We're behind.
Like I definitely watched this movie when it came out. Like, I remember, Okay, so I remember my family renting Scream on pay-per-view when it came out. Like, I remember that. I did not remember anything about Scream 2. I did not remember a single thing except that very last scene where Sydney shoots Mrs. Loomis in the head. But I did not even remember that it was Mrs. Loomis. Like, I just remember Sydney shooting bad guy in the head and being like, just in case, very casually. You know, like I did not know who the bad guy was in
did
Scream 2.
You know you watched it?
When I watched it a couple nights ago, I did not know. So did
you make a guess on who you thought it was?
Yes. Here were my guesses. 1, I thought Derek, but not really. Like, I was like, I understand that I am supposed to think that it is Derek so that it follows the first movie. I know that is wrong. However, I do not like him. I never suspected Mickey. I should have.
I didn't either.
In retrospect, there's that scene where he asks Derek if Sydney would do an interview with him about the murders in Woodsboro. Like, obviously, it's Mickey.
Yeah.
I did suspect Debbie Salt. Like, she was Billy's mom.
Yeah, I did too. Immediately, whenever I was like, I feel like she might be the killer. But I have not seen this movie. I seen the first one in pieces on TV. So now this was my first watch through fully of it. And then this one I had never seen. I can get, like, there's not one part of the movie that seemed familiar to me.
I genuinely am not sure if I have seen the whole movie or if I have just caught the end. Like, so little of it was familiar to me. It was just that last, like,
I had no idea
into Scream 2.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that there is a headshot that Sydney does cavalierly. Like, that is all I know about this movie. And wasn't even super sure that it was this movie or if it could have been a sequel or if maybe even I was remembering the first one. You know, like I was not super sure. So I did not remember this movie very well. But I suspected Debbie Salt. Yeah.
When I saw her and I was like, I feel like this bitch.
Yeah. The minute she showed up and was like, like prying Gail for questions, I was like, no. What's
I don't
going
feel
on
good
here?
about this.
No.
But still, at the end, I was like, what? I felt like it was her the entire time. But then when it was Mickey, he was like, there's no way I could have done this alone. I was like, okay. I was like, I guess it's just Mickey. And then she pops around the corner. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, I'm glad that I had pegged her from earlier on. But like, this is great. Like, I was not like this person. It also turns out that nobody knew who the murderer was. Nobody got the last 10 pages of the script until the day of shooting.
Oh, fun. You know what else I saw is that the guy who does the voice of Ghostface, they kept him separate from everybody.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they never met him because Wes Craven didn't want them to have like a face to associate with the bad guy. They wanted him to just be like unembodied.
Yeah.
So they never met, which great for the film, but made me feel sad for him. I was like, that would suck to like do this huge movie and never get to collaborate with your castmates.
Oh yeah. There's another part of trivia that I really liked about the movie that we haven't talked about, but it's going to sound really stupid. There is a scene. What's Jamie Kennedy's character name? Randy. So Randy is talking to Sydney about something, I think, and then he just goes off in a British accent. And they talked to him about that, and they're like, why? And he was like, I have no reason. There's no rhyme or reason. I couldn't. And then when I was watching it with Ryan, he was like, he's a theater kid. Like, you can tell he's a theater kid through and through. And I was like,
he's not.
In the movie or in real life?
In real life, he for sure is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So he just started talking in a British accent because he's a theater kid. Because that was just an immediate, like, let's do this.
That's how I wrote it off in the movie. I was just like, yeah, we all did that. He's just being
ridiculous.
We all did that at some point in our lives.
Theater kids all did that at some point in their lives.
Oh, are you calling me a theater kid?
You fucking are.
So let me talk about theater in this movie. I'm about to get up on my theater kid soapbox. Okay, so I legitimately have multiple points about this. I'm sorry, I'm doing it. So in this movie, first of all, when in the scene where we are seeing Sydney as Cassandra, I really thought it was going to be a musical. Like, there's even a beat. There's like a drop. She's like doing a monologue, and then there's like a drop, and she whips her head around, and the Greek chorus is there around her. And I was like, and cue the music. Why is there an orchestra pit that Gail falls into if it's not a musical? I don't know. I've got questions. My next point is we didn't really go into it, but when Derek is like tied to the scenery in the musical, he gets there not from Ghostface, but there's like a big romantic gesture between him and Sydney in the cafeteria, which I fucking hated. And in that scene, he gives his like fraternity letters to her, and that is punishable by fraternity law. So the fraternity like kidnapped him and tied him to this set in the play, and then the fraternity and their sister sorority, I guess, have like a party around him in the theater, and I respect that. I've had many a party on the stage in a theater while a set is in play, but they were like spilling beer everywhere. They were being super disrespectful. And I like not only was like around the theater, but I was the main sound engineer for my college when I was there for 4 years, and was like in the set. I made the sets for 4 years. That was my work study program. And so the whole time they were doing this, I was like, stop.
You assholes.
The floor is going to be so sticky.
And even whenever Sydney shows up in those places, there are beer bottles and t-shirts and like clothing items that are just everywhere.
Like, I get
so like, disrespectful.
Yes, absolutely. Get drunk on the stage. I more than once got drunk on the stage, on the set.
They will be respectful of
They will be respectful.
The set.
Like, theater kids are dorks, but
respectful.
We like to get drunk. So like, I more than once got drunk with like the theater professors on the stage. Professors. Sorry. Hey, Sunny, do you listen to this? You weren't a professor. But we were pals and we drank on the stage, and it was fun. But like, you can't, like, you have to have a trash bag to put your
you clean it up.
Garbage in. And the other thing that really got me is at the end of the movie, Sydney like gets up on the stage where she finds Derek, and Derek is not tied to any scenery. He is on like, I assume it's a piece of scenery where the actor is meant to represent a god, because it's on a fly. So he's on like a piece of scenery that you use a pulley system to like bring up above the proscenium window, and then you can bring it into the frame of action. And like, Sydney gets up on stage, and Ghostface is like operating a spotlight to track her on the stage, and at the same time somebody is operating the flies and like bringing in and out scenery. And I was like, like, we have to have more than one person here. How is he doing both at once? This cannot happen.
So you called it before, because I didn't know. I thought it was just one person.
No, when it was spotlight, because I've done both. Like, I've operated a spotlight, which sucks dicks. It's so hot, and then the flies are like, they're just hard. They're heavy. So I was like, you can't be in both places at once.
That's why you gotta have a sugar mama.
You gotta have a sugar mama,
and that's what Mickey did, and it was perfect. And
good for him.
You know. Great movie. I'm excited to see how the third one turns out. I know. Too. I mean, maybe I don't think we're gonna talk about it. It's not in our series.
It's not in the series, but we should talk about it. Hey, thanks for joining us. Next week, we'll be discussing Event Horizon, wherein a rescue crew investigates a spaceship that has recently turned up near Neptune after having disappeared into a rift in the space-time continuum. Oh, and also something evil is now on board. In the meantime, you can find us in various apps at No Show Monster, or email us at noshowmonster@gmail.com. And hey, if you're digging the show, tell your friends. And don't be shy about rating and reviewing us in the old iTunes. We'll see you next week for Event Horizon.